Trump hat, I'll give you my presidential hat. Presidential seal on it.
You want to autograph it?
Oh, sure, I'll autograph it.
Huh?
Yeah.
You remember your name?
I don't remember my name. I'm slow.
You're an old part. You're an old part.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm an old guy.
And you're an old part, right?
I know you would know about that.
What?
About being old.
Oh, I know.
All right.
I'm a young timer. Huh?
You know, he reminds me of the guys I grew up with. There was always one in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, I'm the only one.
There you go, man. I need that hat.
You want my autograph?
Hell no.
You know my name. Come on.
I ain't going that far.
Yeah, you said you would do a selfie. There he goes. Yeah. Hey, I'm proud of you now. You old fart. Huh?
Just remember, no eating dogs and cats.
Hey, they're good.
Thank you.
They're good. Kentucky Fried Chicken.
I hope you like the pizza.
Huh?
You guys picked the place to get. I didn't know where it's not easy.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about Leonard McKelvey, a.k.a. Charlamagne, the devil, who decided to give Joe Biden Donkey of the Day because Joe Biden decided to wear a Trump 2024 hat at a 9/11 event that it just so happens that Kamala Harris was at the same event. And Charlamagne Tha God is pissed, right? He's mad and he's upset at Joe Biden. He's telling Joe Biden, go back to your basement, okay? And don't let the world see you again until after the election, because Charlamagne believes that Joe Biden wearing that Trump 2024 hat is a bad look for Kamala Harris. Now, who knows? Because a lot of people are speculating that Joe Biden may have put on that hat as a signal that he's not very happy with Kamala Harris and the Democrats for staging a coup against him and taking away the Democrat nomination from him, even though he believes he is the only guy that can beat Trump. And I don't know. I will go as far as to say that there could be some validity to this idea that Joe Biden would vote for Trump as protest against Kamala Harris and the Democrats overthrowing him, right? I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that 25 years ago, old school Joe would have definitely voted for Trump, okay? I honestly believe that Joe Biden from the early 2000s and the 1990s would have voted for Trump. So who knows? Maybe Joe Biden had a reversal in his mental deterioration. He has come to his senses when it comes to who to vote for, right? So I don't know. I'm leaving open the possibility that Joe Biden could protest vote for Trump. But in the meantime, the White House says that no, this was just a unity event. Joe Biden was doing it as a sign of unity. Now, looking at the video, it seems as if that Joe Biden was having a playful moment with some Trump supporters who happen to be older people, right? So it's just old folks having fun with each other. Joe Biden was in his natural habitat. Okay, I just said, if Joe Biden was the same Joe Biden that he was in that video, he might still have a nomination. I don't know. I think that people would like him a lot more. Okay, Joe Biden actually seemed like an old, fun grandpa, right? That's what he seemed like, right? It's hard to hate the guy when you watch that video. But regardless, whatever they've done to Joe, at least in regards to when he is in politician mode, is most certainly not something that is unifying the country. In fact, it is dividing the country, okay? This is why I don't really buy this explanation from the White House that Joe Biden did it as a sign of unity. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Maybe Joe Biden had no clue what he was doing, or maybe, who knows, Joe Biden knew what he was doing. He was doing it to get back at Kamala Harris and Democrats. I don't know. But regardless, there's some people like Charlamagne the Devil who are upset with this, okay? Kamala Harris supporters are upset, and they feel like Joe Biden is low-key hurting Kamala Harris when he does stuff like this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Day after your vice president has a phenomenal debate against the former president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, you, Mr. President, decide to put on a hat that says Trump 2024. Now, I'm not the highest grade of weed in the dispensary, but that doesn't seem like a show of support for your vice president to me. This race is going to be tight. okay? This race can be swung by just the tiniest fraction of votes, which won't fare well for the Democrats because Trump is going to challenge the results of the election. We know this. Don't act surprised when it happens, okay? There are going to be Republican elected officials all over the country who will refuse to certify the results of the election. Donald Trump's Supreme Court, in my opinion, in light of so many of their recent rulings, including but not limited to the presidential immunity ruling, which gives presidents absolute immunity from criminal prosecution. In light of rulings like that, I believe
this is not even true. Like, again, I don't even know why they have this guy talking about topics that he has no clue what he's talking about. The Supreme Court did not give the president of the United States absolute immunity, right? What he's saying is just factually not true. In fact, the Supreme Court says that a president, yes, they can't be charged for official acts, but acts that are deemed to be non-official or private acts, he can be charged for those acts. That is not absolute immunity, okay? So, again, Charlamagne Tha God is just factually incorrect. But also on top of that, he's fear-mongering about this idea that if Trump loses, he's going to challenge the election along with other Republicans, which could be true depending on the election results and how it turns out. But I would actually argue that regardless of who loses, the election will certainly be challenged, okay? Especially if Kamala Harris loses, because Democrats are going to lose their minds. They're never going to accept the outcome of the election. This is why they're already talking about Russia. They're going to say Russia stole it. They're going to use some excuse not to certify the election on January 6th. They're going to do the exact same things that they were complaining about Republicans trying to do just 3 or 4 years ago, right? They're going to do the exact same thing. And on top of that, there's going to be a high chance of domestic violence and extremism from Democrats and Kamala Harris supporters if Trump wins. And the reason why you know this is because there's a 100% chance that liberal cities will be boarding up on the day of the election, right? I guarantee you there will be news reports about liberal city businesses boarding up, okay, in preparation for election day. Why? It's definitely not just in case Trump loses. No, that's not why they're doing that. They're doing it just in case Kamala Harris loses because the far left lunatics have shown us every time the Democrats lose, they lose their minds and they commit acts of violence in response, okay? This is what happened. It happened back in 2016 when Hillary Clinton lost, which is something that these people tend to forget, right? So that's why I find it hilarious when these people bring up this idea that, oh, Trump's going to challenge the election, as if Democrats aren't going to do the same thing. Except if Democrats lose, it's going to be much worse than whatever would happen if Trump loses, right? That is something I think we should all be able to agree on, is that the people who act up the most when they lose elections are Democrats, the left, okay? These people are out of control and they become unhinged anytime they don't get their way.
It would overturn the results of the election. So Democrats' only defense against that is large voter turnout. That's it. By the way, that's always their only defense against voter suppression because they can't get things like the John Lewis Voting Rights Act or the Freedom to Vote Act passed. So when you know you need that kind of turnout, why is the sitting president, would you wear a hat in support of a person who is the op of your running mate? Mm-hmm. He is an op in regards to your administration. You, President Biden, you call him a threat to democracy. Okay, if he's a threat to democracy, why are you wearing paraphernalia that supports him being president in 2024?
Because they don't believe it. That's why, right? Only idiots like you, okay, peanut brain idiots like Charlamagne Tha God believe these talking points from Democrats, right? Democrats know that the real threat to democracy are themselves, right? And this is why they scream and cry about Trump being a threat to democracy, because they are projecting, okay?
Said you did it as a gesture of unity. You can't call someone a threat to democracy and then wear their paraphernalia and want to be unified with them. Okay, nobody who opposed Nazis would ever wear something with a swastika on it. And President Biden not only wore it, he took a picture in it. Now that picture is all over social media. It's going to be in TV commercials, digital ads. Donald Trump's campaign immediately, as you heard in the news report, thanked Joe for the support. Another post from them said, Kamala did so bad in last night's debate, Joe Biden put on a Trump hat. This is why you got to keep Joe Biden in the basement, right? We not going back, okay? Since the VP has been the nominee, since she's been at the top of the ticket, you see all the Democrats who have political courage and who are actually good at messaging front and center. You see Governor Josh Shapiro. You see Governor Gretchen Whitmer. You see Secretary Pete. You see Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. You see Congresswoman Ayanna Presley, okay?
And you don't see Kamala Harris. Why? Right? Because Kamala Harris is not good at that, right? She's not good and messaging. Okay, thank you, Charlamagne Tha God, for acknowledging that. Right, we don't see Kamala Harris. Okay, the people that they're putting out there are the best con artists that the Democrats have to offer.
Just to name a few. These individuals have political courage. They aren't cowards at all, and they have very clear, relatable messaging. Joe Biden represents a regime that simply doesn't have the courage to stand up to the bullies. A day after we watched the VP bully the bully, the president of the United States of America is back trying to get along with the bully. He wants a gesture of unity with the bully. That's terrible messaging. Okay? Let me tell you something, President Biden. If Donald Trump gets back in office, he's putting you in jail. All right, he's already vowed to prosecute his political opponents. Trump wrote on social media just this past weekend, when I win, those people that cheated will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. And please beware that this legal exposure extends to lawyers, political operatives, donors, illegal voters, and corrupt election officials. This man is going to lock your ass up if he becomes president again, and you wearing his hat. You wearing his campaign paraphernalia. This is why Democrats have to keep Joe Biden in hiding. Every time Joe Biden steps outside, his GPS tells him he's arrived, but it's never where he meant to go. Okay, I don't want him talking to anyone. I don't want him answering any questions. Can you imagine Joe Biden having a press conference right now, having to navigate his way through tough questions like, what's today's date? And then after Biden took a picture in the hat, he took a picture with a bunch of kids with Trump paraphernalia on. Look, I'm all for bipartisan togetherness, okay, but not when you're trying to win an election. And somebody please tell President Biden, this isn't the Republican Party he came up with. Okay, it's MAGA. I don't know why Republicans just gave the party to MAGA, but they did. And I don't know, maybe President Biden thinks MAGA stands for Make America Geriatric Again. Okay,
So the Republican Party didn't give itself to MAGA. The voters said this is the direction that we want the party to go in, right? That's how democracy works, right? But because there is no democracy on the Democrat Party, the Democrats, people like Charlamagne Tha God, he didn't get a say in the direction that Democrat Party should go in, right? Because they just said, no, we're going to make Kamala the nominee. Okay, you peasants are too stupid to vote. Okay, we're going to nominate whoever we want. We're not going to give you a say. And we know you're going to vote for this person because you're Trump deranged, right? We've told you that Trump is the most evil person ever. Okay, so, it's just funny because you can see the difference between the two parties here, right? This guy is complaining about the Republican Party becoming MAGA, but that only happens because you have democracy within the Republican Party. The Democrat Party, they're just whoever their rich donors want them to be in regards to their nominee and who their nominee is in the direction of their party. You don't even get a say, but yet you're voting for Democrats to save democracy, right? That's how silly of an ideology people like Charlamagne Tha God have, right? And throw Stephen A. Smith in that same bucket with Charlamagne Tha God as well too, right? These individuals are silly.
Sick of the disrespect to old people, and he wants you to know bingo nights and IHOP senior citizen specials will never go out of style. Make America Geriatric again, because who needs fast Wi-Fi when you've got a rocking chair and a good story? The moral of the story is, President Biden, it's time for you to move like a VP for these last 50 days and just be quiet. Okay? Please give President Joe Biden the biggest hee-haw. Come on.
Wow. Yeah. So you see that, you heard that. Okay. Full-blown meltdown, full-blown panic from Charlamagne Tha God, who has a point about how, optically speaking, this is not good for Kamala, right? It is not a good look for Joe Biden to put on a Trump hat when you claim that Trump is a threat to democracy, right? That this guy is Hitler, domestic terrorist, right? This is all the things that Democrats have said about Trump supporters. In fact, I mean, this is what they're still saying on MSNBC.
Everything he does is despicable.
The reason why it doesn't end his career is because his supporters are just as despicable. All right. Like Trump's whole thing, he's a narcissist, right? And so his whole thing is to have a complete lack of compassion and empathy for everybody else. It's all about him. That's why he lies about 9/11. It's all about him, me. He's probably the least compassionate president we've had in 200 years since Andrew Jackson. And it works for him because his supporters are just as ungenerous and have just as little compassion and empathy for others. So when he is seen out there essentially, as you guys have put it, desecrating our national symbols, when he is seen out there putting himself above all else, his supporters also want that to be the case. They want to do that in their own lives. That's how they think of themselves. And that's why it never hurts Trump when he takes these crass and classless actions. It's because his supporters think that being crass and classless is actually kind of cool.
Yeah, so I think that Charlamagne has a point about the whole unity thing, in the sense that when you have people on the left like Charlamagne Tha God, Elon Musk, Joy Reid, who are all severely Trump deranged to the point where they're not in touch with reality, okay? They are in full-blown reality denialism because of their Trump derangement. Yeah, it's hard to unify with those people who clearly hate you, right? Like, they clearly hate Trump supporters for who they are, right? And they say it openly out loud, right? We just don't like MAGA. MAGA evil, MAGA white supremacists, MAGA Nazis, okay? This is what they really believe that Trump supporters are the same people that supported Hitler, right? This is what they're saying, okay? This is what they say out loud, okay? Out loud. So, yeah, you cannot unite under those circumstances, okay? I think Charlamagne Tha God is correct about the whole unity thing. It is fake coming from the Democrats because that's the last thing they want. They don't want unity because that party thrives off of hatefulness and divisiveness. So unity is the last thing these people want. And I think that's why they're so upset about Joe Biden doing this gesture for unity because, again, they hate that, right? They can't stand the idea of Joe Biden or a Democrat wearing a Trump hat and saying, hey, you know, these guys, they aren't that bad, okay? They aren't evil. They aren't white supremacists. Maybe they're just like everybody else, but they have common sense, right? They don't want to acknowledge that at all. That's the last thing that they want to do. But yeah, it is a bad look for Joe Biden, okay? And Joe Biden is the gift that keeps on giving. So keep it up, Joe, because President Trump needs you out there on the campaign trail as a hardcore, avid Trump supporter, showing Democrats firsthand why they should support President Trump in multiple ways, not just by wearing the Trump 2024 hat, but also being a reminder of the terrible and disastrous policies of the Biden-Harris administration that has caused so much chaos, destruction, and suffering in this country. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.